Capricorn, I got a channeled message for you, and it was, it's all smoke and mirrors. Okay, that's interesting. First card I pulled for you for January 2026 is the mushroom. Resilience, growth, and the interconnectedness of life. And as we know, for you lovely Capricorns, and I don't know why, but I don't know if I would describe it as a good feeling, but I definitely have a feeling about you. This is your season. Happy birthday. But I have a feeling about you as you come into 2026. I always feel that regardless of the fact it's your solar return, that January is definitely a time where you benefit the most. It feels as if, because you are ruled by Saturn and you are so resilient as you are, that while the rest of the signs are kind of floundering in the frozen earth, you know how to chip away at it, okay? Now, for me, also, mushrooms grow in the dark, and smoke and mirrors is when you've got some kind of, I don't know if I want to say gaslighting, because I don't have other cards to support it yet, but there's definitely something along those lines that we need to have a look at. And I want to take a few shadow, there's a second one. Nice. I want to take a few shadow cards for you as well. We get the sun. That's interesting. Vitality, radiance, enlightenment, the power of positive thinking. And by God, do you know how to do that? Because you kind of have to when you're a Capricorn, and especially since 2019, when things, I don't know, things have just been, can I call it a tough run for Capricorn? You tell me in the comments, okay? Because you've been experiencing it. I've got my moon and my Mars in Capricorn, and I do think it's been unfairly bad for you. And I don't normally say that, okay? I don't normally attribute good or bad to the energy. I just think, well, the universe is what the universe is. But I honestly have been watching and doing your readings, and I have very close Capricorn friends and planets in Capricorn myself, and just thinking, will you ever get a break? So, okay, let's see. Cauldron. Nice. Now, I'm probably talking more to the sea goats here, and those of you that have watched before will know that there's like kind of mountain goats, and you can definitely be different goats at different times, which is why I pretend I'm a goat. We've got the mountain goat, we've got the sea goat, and we've got like the farm goat. And when you're the sea goat, you're doing what is rarely talked about for Capricorns, and that is kind of, you're working in between the lines. You're working with energy. And it says here, creation, transformation, magic, divine alchemy. The reason why it's alchemy, and something you are very good at anyway, is that you're making something out of nothing in 2026. Something you're very good at in terms of what my mum would call being parsimonious. You can make things last. You're not wasteful. You're quite careful. You're ruled by Saturn. But there's something here about going above and beyond that energy. Just let me let the cat out. Biggie, do you want to go out? She's like, I do want to go out. I want to be let out. Just a minute. Sorry about that. Biggie's not a Capricorn, so she's not interested. She's a Taurus though. Okay, let's throw some tarot at it. I'm going to use Tarot Nouveau, but I'm also going to have a little look at some shadow cards for you, because I really feel, even all these three, if you look at them, they're very shadowy, all of them. But there's like a light trying to get through, okay? There is a light trying to get through. What do we need to know, please? Let me just put those over here. For my lovely, lovely Capricorns. I like Capricorn people. If you are ever in a crisis, Capricorn people are the ones to call. But what do you do when you're in a crisis, Capricorn? Which is interesting because I'm thinking now of the Capricorns I know, particularly one who definitely has come to me when I've been in crisis several times, and I'm talking big stuff, no questions asked. But I've only been able to go to them in crisis once or twice in all the time, and I've known them all my life, because they never tell me. How are you with that? And I think that's something you might need to work on as we come into 2026, to do with vulnerability. You're very capable and people will gladly take your assistance. But I feel like you need someone. You need something. What is it that you need? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Right. First, I'm going to deal with the smoke and mirrors. It may link up with the vulnerability and what you need as well, but I feel it's important, okay, because the Seven of Swords has shown up. And if the Seven of Swords wants to show up, it's a card that I always say is like an aubergine. It takes on the flavour of other cards around it. There's a couple of things. One, because I already had the channel of smoke and mirrors, I'm feeling like there's definitely people around, or someone around you that you can't necessarily trust. Capricorn is normally very hot on that. You don't suffer fools gladly. So I'm going to question that a bit more with some shadow cards. We also get the Seven of Wands, Mars in Leo. This is pick your battle, choose your battle wisely. I feel like you're being called to something. I feel like you're going to need to stick your neck out on something. You're going to have to stand up for something or someone, maybe someone else. If you are standing up for someone who needs your help, or you perceive them, or they present themselves in need, weaker, vulnerable, and you're sticking up for them, standing up for them, which Capricorns do a lot. This is going to sound really awful, but I'm going to say be careful around that person, which is mad and not nice. But when you get the Seven of Swords, the other meaning to the card, which I'm also getting, is that sometimes you can't be nice. Sometimes you need to keep your cards very close to your chest. Okay, so we've got your resilience, your growth. We've got something going on undercover slightly in the darkness, smoke and mirrors. Somebody may be hiding something and you may be slightly able to see it, maybe sensing it but don't quite get it. I've also got the Four of Cups, which is like a hiatus. Yeah, it's neither happy nor sad. You're thinking, you're reflecting, you're sitting under the tree. Somewhere or other, you're going to end up having to say what you believe and what you stand for. And it's whether you stand for this cause, this person, this whoever it is. But I would be careful. I can't really not say that. Let's take a few shadow cards. Because yes, you're resilient, but also the kind of few years that you've had, you do need to focus on yourself quite heavily, you know, and that also involves asking for help when you need it, being the one who is needy, I suppose. You know, there's nothing wrong with needing something. I think needy gets a bad press sometimes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Interesting. The shadow cards are very interesting. We're going to do love in the second section of this reading, okay? Five of Wands. Five of Wands is when you're at odds with something or someone. Where do I experience conflict or competition? Yes. This looks like it's either a friend or family dynamic to me. And I'll tell you why. Because the other shadow card you get is the Ten of Pentacles, which is family. Now, this can be your actual family, especially we've just had the holidays. Some of us have been cooped up with members of our family. You know, blink twice, we'll come rescue you. But it can also be ancestral patterns within your family from generation to generation, you know, like epigenetics type stuff. It feels as if you feel like it might be selfish to free yourself from that. And maybe it is. And I say, so be it. Okay? We've got the Three of Pentacles working together. There are some people who you have to tolerate. Sick relatives, you know, people who don't have the opportunity to be different. Yeah, you do need to tolerate those people. There are other people who choose to be the way they are and could change that, and you don't always have to tolerate them. It's interesting. This is a very sticky dynamic. It's a sticky dynamic because it's people you're close to, or it's people you know well, which is going to be close friends or family. You're going to have to choose, I think, at some point who you support and who you don't. But also, I think you need to watch your energy levels around people who need you, because you've been in quite a pit for the last few years. And, you know, I don't normally talk about the outside, the macro. I'm more about the personal journey. But if we are going to include the state of the universe, which I don't like to go there because, you know, you have enough of that with the rest of the social media, but things over the last few years have been difficult for a lot of people. And it is really a thing that if you're in a pit, not that many people are going to help you, and you do definitely need to help yourself, okay? It's the whole thing about the aeroplane going down, putting the mask on yourself first. You need all the strength you've got, and that would be when you're you turn into the mountain goat, right? I don't know if you've ever seen those goats on the mountain, but for the love of God, they're amazing because they survive when no one else can. You can do that, okay? One rocky ledge to another, but you haven't got time to always be carrying somebody else, okay? Particularly if it's not a genuine need. And I'm going to go even further here. And I'm a Pisces, you know, I'm quite unconditional love type person. Some people need your help and you're still not going to be able to give it. Or if you do, it may come at too high a price. And that's a really difficult message. And I would love for you to let me know in the comments your feelings on that, because I'm not saying this is like right and wrong. Many things in life, most things in life are not just right or wrong. And our ability to hold two contradictory statements is what makes us human. You know it's right, but you still don't have to do it. That's what I'm trying to say. Mask on yourself first. You've got to dig yourself out of this pit. This is a great time of power for you, but you need to be very singular. You need to find your North Star. You need to follow it. Some people, and I'm getting the weirdest channeled message. I had this before actually. I'm getting a Home Alone channeled message of when he does all those stuff to the people where he's throwing ball bearings. You know, it's one thing after another in a kind of a slapstick. Well, if this doesn't work, I'll do that. I'll put a curtain over it. I'll do smoke and mirrors. Some people may be being manipulative even if they don't know that they're being manipulated. You may not know you're being manipulated, but being a Capricorn, I bet you've got some sense of it. And ain't no time for that. I'm sorry, but there isn't. Should we look at your love life? Because it may actually bleed into your love life as well. Let's look at love. Whew, I feel like this is quite a deep reading for you. I've been wanting to do it for ages, but I've just, yeah, don't even ask. It's taken 3 attempts to get this video to work, so here we are. Love, Capricorn, relationships, please. I also feel that this reading is not particularly for January, but more for like 6 to 8 weeks. Don't know why. Love. Oh, look what we get for love. I love that you get this for love. Look. 4 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles in astrology is Sun in Capricorn. I know. This is this exact same message. Now, sometimes people see the 4 of Pentacles, and I don't know if it's just because I've got my Moon and my Mars in Capricorn, but some people see the 4 of Pentacles as a selfish card, you know, or of the miser, someone who loves money, and it's like, I'm going to keep all my money to myself. I don't see it like that, because it's a 4. So think of the 4 legs of a table, like this one. It's stable, it's keeping you up, it's keeping you level, it's keeping you sorted, but it's also the bank of your energy. So when it comes to your romantic relationships, your love life, in whichever way that comes up for you, it's very important that you're putting enough money in your own bank. Same thing. And you're not, I'm going to say it's very important, you're not reaching out to others as well. Cold coffee, but I need the caffeine. Yeah. Think of this as the emotional bank. Make sure you're depositing enough for yourself, okay? And then if other people want to make deposits, that's great. And they can make withdrawals and you can make withdrawals, but you're great in real life with money and budgeting and things. Make sure you're balancing the books emotionally, okay? You get the Hanged Man, which is interesting, and you get that with Justice. Very interesting. And also, I'm very, very, very pleased to see it. It's come up for a few signs. It came up, Justice for Pisces came up, Justice for Leo came up a month or 2 ago. It's come up a lot, and the Justice card has been knocking around different signs. And I'm very glad to see it for you. So when you get Justice, it is to do with karma, and it is to do with things swinging more in your favour usually. It's not always pretty when it does that. And we do have the Hanged Man, which means that Justice has been held up. And it's very interesting actually, because Justice is 11, the Hanged Man is 12, which frankly I couldn't have told you. Because for some reason I've been doing this virtually all my life. I can never ever, I've got like a block about remembering the numbers of the major arcana. Also they change a bit from deck to deck. 2 cards here that want to come out. Oh my lord. It's a lot. What's at the bottom? Yay! Right, 3 of Cups. When it comes to your love life, get yourself out there. Okay. And we're talking with friends, we're talking with dates, we're talking anything that makes you feel frothy and happy and liberated. Things which Capricorns often have to work for. Because Saturn is none of those things, and that is your ruler. Saturn is a little bit of a granddad, you know. But it doesn't mean that you can't have some fun. Especially because you know you've got this card. So you know that things are kind of tipping in your favour. But we also get Judgment. Judgment. So Judgment looks back. The Hanged Man blocks justice in some way. It doesn't block justice, it delays justice. There's delayed justice from something to do with the past here. Now this doesn't necessarily mean an ex. It can mean whatever influences you from the past. And again, this can be your patterns in relationships that have come to you from your family, because we were talking about, you know, epigenetics, and we were talking about what you inherit. Oh, that's amazing. You get the star. Remember I said about following your North Star? And I remember thinking a minute ago when I said it, why am I saying that? You know, like you do that sometimes in a reading, you're like, where did that come from? This is really important. There's no room for anyone else at the moment, okay? Now, in terms of your love life, this doesn't mean you need to be single. It means you need to be single-minded, no matter what is going on around you, okay? And the very fact that you can be single-minded will help. And it's really important, because I feel with Judgment here and Justice and the Hanged Man, that a wrong is being corrected or a wrong is being righted, but it belongs to a different time, but it's affecting the now. And then we have the Three of Wands, and we have Mr. Those buns, in his tighty whities with his big stick. We have the Three of Wands, which is somebody now able, and this is you, okay? You don't have to wear those chinos. Please don't wear those chinos, ever. But you're able to look out over the horizon with a sense of freedom that you have somehow cut ties or resolved some kind of karmic issue from the past. You will be able to do this in the next 6 to 8 weeks. There will be justice for Capricorn, okay? But there will be weird delays with it, and that is your smoke and mirrors. And you know why? Because this card also represents Neptune. And Neptune, when it's in its, I can't remember what you call it, not exalted, but when it's in its low state, can be deceptive. It can be smoke and mirrors, and it can be lighting. You know, it's a bit like showing yourself in a good light, literally. If you use a certain kind of lighting when you're making videos, I don't use any because I'm not very good at it, but you can use lighting that makes you look 10 years younger. But you can also use lighting that makes you look like you've been dug up. I've done that. That's why I don't do it. A few tries, I was like, is that me? Oh my God. I'm going to put a sock over my head and go and live in a cave. Yeah. But anyway, Neptune is about altered states. It's also about dreaminess and delays and being unrealistic. This is only when it's in its lower state. I'm ruled by Neptune, so I love Neptune. When it's up here, it's about philosophy and connecting and piercing the veil and all of those brilliant things. But it can be tricky. And it feels like there is a karmic delay with these 3 cards. Okay? Because Justice wants to get stuff done. Sword of Truth, let's go. Judgment wants to look back, and the Hanged Man wants to stay the same. Now, this will win. Should we just have a quick shadow card on Justice to see what the biggest challenge is to that? In the extended love reading, I've been doing, and I'm going to do for you as well, a triple deck, triple threat. So I do a card for you, a card for your love connection, and then something in the middle that's like a bridge, and shadow cards. So you can see what's joining you and what's keeping you apart from love. Okay? Love. 2 shadow cards. Christ almighty. That's a hell of a shadow card for the Justice. First of all, 10 of Swords. Woohoo! Yeah, okay. When you get the 10 of Swords, what betrayals am I struggling to accept, it says here. How can I find meaning and renewal amidst experiences of loss and adversity? That's fair enough. So take a picture of that. They don't all belong in your love life. They could be from family, they could be from friends, they could be from ancestors, but it is affecting your love life, okay? Also, for some of you, and you will know who you are, In order for justice to happen, you needed to reach a rock bottom. I know. Then, whoof, we've got this little old Page of Swords. Just this tiny spark of passion. What new passions am I hesitant to explore? Okay. This is also for me about trust, and it talks about failure, fear of failure and criticism, which is a huge thing for Capricorns, because Capricorns are the worst at criticizing themselves. You're always holding yourself to account, okay? Even though, and you may perceive that others are holding you to account when actually they probably don't give a shit. You know what people are like? They're always thinking about themselves. So, the delay for some kind of justice means, for some reason, and I hate the universe for this, but it does it, it was waiting for you to kind of reach rock bottom. And two, you're just starting to awaken. There's a little, instead of a flame, we've just got a little pilot light. Just a little tiny weeny pilot light. But you can light a big fire off that, okay? Capricorn, I'm going to go and do your extended, you, me, and the bridge in between. Link is down below. I love that you are coming out from the dark into the light, but also it's time for you to get real. It's time for you to get selfish, and time for you to celebrate yourself. Okay? You heard it here first. I'll see you on the other side. Namaste.